Hello, my name is Erin. Today's tutorial shows how to create an index in Microsoft Word. First, we'll look at how to mark index entries, including creating subentries and cross-references. Next, we'll look at how to create the index itself. Then, we'll look at how to update the index. We'll cover more advanced topics such as creating one index for multiple documents, creating multiple indexes for one document, and creating auto-mark files in separate tutorials. I'll be using Word for Microsoft 365. These steps also apply to Word for Mac and the recent non-subscription versions of the software. These steps don't apply to Word for the web or Word for mobile. To begin marking an index entry, select the term in the text. You can select one word, a name, or even a phrase. Next, select the References tab. From there, select Mark Entry in the Index group. When the Mark Index Entry dialog box appears, the term you just selected will appear in the main entry text box. If you'd like, you can select bold or italic to format how the page numbers will appear in the index. Next, select the Mark button to mark the individual term you just selected. Or select the Mark All button to mark every occurrence of that term in the document. The field code XE plus the entry term will appear next to the word in the document. Note that if you'd like to update the index entry later on, you can do so by editing the text inside the field code. You can now select the Close button, or leave the Mark Index Entry dialog box open as we mark additional entries, which is what I'm going to do today. Before we start, it's important to note that these steps should be performed after marking the main entry as we just did in the previous section. To begin, select the term that you want to be a sub-entry. The term will appear in the main entry text box. However, it needs to be moved to the sub-entry text box, so select it, and then cut it by pressing Ctrl plus X on a PC or Command plus X on a Mac. Then place your cursor in the sub-entry text box and press Ctrl plus V on a PC or Command plus V on a Mac. Now, retype the main entry term under which you want the sub-entry to appear in the main entry text box. And then select the Mark button to mark the individual term you just selected, or select the Mark All button to mark every occurrence of that term in the document. The field code with the sub-entry will appear next to the term in the document. When you cross-reference index entries, you're replacing the page number with the word C followed by another related term in the index. You can't have a cross-reference and a page number for the same entry. To begin, select the term, and then select Cross-Reference in the Mark Index Entry dialog box. Next, type the related term after C in the text box. And then select the Mark button. Note that it's normal for the Mark All button to be grayed out when creating a cross-reference. The field code with the cross-reference should appear next to the term in the document. When you're finished marking your entries, select the Close button. If you'd like, you can also return to the Home tab and then select the Show Hide button to hide the index entry field codes. Indexes normally begin on a new page at the end of the document, so this section includes the steps for inserting a next page section break. However, you can skip those first steps if you don't want the index to start on a new page. To begin, place your cursor at the end of the text. Next, select the Layout tab, followed by Breaks, and Next Page from the drop-down menu. Your cursor will move to a new blank page. Word's index command doesn't automatically generate a title, so type the word index and then format it or apply a heading style as you normally would. And then select the References tab, followed by Insert Index. When the Index dialog box appears, you can accept the default settings or adjust the appearance of the index, such as the tab leader, format, and number of columns. Lastly, select the OK button. The index should now be inserted into your document. Word's indexes don't update automatically after changes are made to your document. However, you can manually update your index at any time. To do so, place your cursor in the index, select the References tab, and then select Update Index. Alternatively, you can also select the entire index, right-click it on a PC or Control-click it on a Mac, and then select Update Field from the shortcut menu. Using either method, your index should now be updated. And as always, remember to save your file to save your changes. All the steps we just performed are listed with images on my website at erinwritewriting.com, which is linked in the description box below, along with my playlists, How to Use Microsoft Word, and How to Use Word for Mac. Feel free to leave me a comment if there's a specific topic that you'd like me to talk about in the future. And please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss upcoming tutorials. And give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching.